Previously, when I started any business coaching session with a client, I'd start with people's intrinsic or core values, but then move on way too quickly to the client avatar and product design and creation. Now, obviously, that stuff is important, but what I've learned and learned the hard way, so that means I've learned it well, is that you build a business to suit your life with your core values at the heart of it and reverse engineer from there. That's worth a rewind. So I'm going to say it again. You build a business to suit your life with your core values at the heart of it and reverse engineer from there. Hi, my name is Jenny Burrell and welcome to the Power Years Project podcast, a virtual healing space for all women ready to embark on their radical midlife redesign. This podcast is ode to all the amazing possibilities still to come, all the life yet to be lived, and how we journey to a truly self-authored life. Hello there. Well, welcome to episode number 3, Why Knowing Your Core Values and Core Beliefs Beat SMART Goals. So this episode is actually a sample of part of the therapeutic coaching process that I journey through with clients. So many women come to my midlife transition coaching because they have a dream for their life that involves their working outside of the home life. And of course, I can help with that. But actually, that's not ever where we start. And this episode explores why. This episode will be of great use to any woman who feels blocked in her business and can't work out why. My process, the process, is unashamedly soul-centered, but at the same time deeply rooted in the neuroscience of facilitating change and supporting the woman to access her own innate intelligence by witnessing her story. And simply, for many women, asking different questions to help them access different information, awakening different parts of her brain. Cue, come out of your amygdala, girl, and step into your prefrontal cortex. Make no mistake, this thing of changing lifetime and deeply rooted habits, thoughts, and perceptions is an inside first, outside second job, which is why any coaching modality that goes straight to SMART goals probably is not going to have the desired or long-lasting results because most people know what to do. Most people know what they want, but we stumble in the initiation or consistent execution of said action and eventually revert back to the habit that we're trying to kick. SMART goals presuppose that knowing what to do is enough, when in reality, we all know that's simply not true. Here's an example. Let's think back to a New Year's resolution that's been on your list for some years, that you start in early January, only to backslide to the old habit a few weeks later. We have all been there. Let's just take a moment to tap into the associated feelings of that thing, that item. Have you got it? Have you got that feeling? For many of us, thinking about that item will most likely lead us to a feeling in our bodies. our gut, our tummies, our chest, our throats. And these feelings, these sensations, are usually then linked and can be linked to a specific emotion. What is that? If you're just noticing that now and it's a new sensation to you, let me introduce you to your infinite pot of gold. Because when we are brave enough to simply stay and witness that emotion journeying and mutating through our bodies with a childlike curiosity, and allow our tender underbellies to be vulnerable, we'll eventually come to an unhelpful core belief that we have about ourselves, usually established early on in our life, that literally springs to life to keep us safe, in air quotes, when danger, also in air quotes, is sensed. Unfortunately, and as Dr. S.M.A.R.T, the creator of compassionate inquiry, says, this sensation, this activity, it's now become your dumb friend. Because in most cases, whatever you're afraid of isn't real, or at least isn't a real threat now. And now your once protective friend is holding you back from living your life of your design. Time to root that sucker out. And of course, with the utmost compassion, care, and respect for the fact that it was once protective and useful, but now is literally kneecapping you. This is compassionate inquiry in action. So let's go back to the concept of SMART goals. And I'm not really hating on them because I do use the principle eventually. SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. And one might then add on an E for evaluated and then an R for reviewed to create smarter goals. And it's the meat and potatoes of any standard coaching strategy used since the 80s. It's generally accepted that the SMART acronym was coined in 1981 by George T. Doran. George T. Doran was a director of corporate planning for Washington Water Power Company, who published a paper titled There's a Smart Way to Write Management Goals and Objectives. And the link for that actual paper is in the show notes. So his paper went on to summarize. Do you know what? I feel like I need to do this in an American accent, but anyway, I'll do it in my normal accent. Let me suggest, therefore, that when it comes to writing effective objectives, corporate officers, managers, and supervisors just have to think of the acronym SMART. Ideally speaking, each corporate department and section objective should be SMART. So I think the word corporate is the key word here, because I don't know about you, but how does that description land for your woman essence and what you want to do, feel, and be in the world? It doesn't do much for me either. And that's because women and their stories are not binary management topics. Women are beautifully and uniquely complex, multidimensional, and sometimes very messy beings. Moreover, women don't build businesses and achieve stuff in a vacuum devoid of children, pets, partners, familial obligations. And so when we start to talk to women about showing up as their very best and majestic selves in the world, We need to do this grounded in reality. Children still need to be taken to school, routes still need to be touched up, packed lunches still need to be made, and random stains on living room carpets still need to be vanished. And full disclosure, there was a time when my approach to life and business was way less based on the power of my feminine energy. And of course, there's a long old story about the insidiousness of patriarchal bias in kind of everything that I will not be getting into here. But instead, I'll focus on how we, as women, harness what we were created with, but very rarely utilize. And it's way more potent, reliable, and sustainable than work rate and masculine hustle and crushing it. Although once I was a raving fan of Gary Vaynerchuk, to be clear. And how at midlife there is a potent surge in this energy, mostly created by not giving an SH1T anymore and deciding to live life on our own terms. That is power. Previously, when I started any business coaching session with a client, I'd start with people's intrinsic or core values, but then move on way too quickly to the client avatar and product design and creation. Now, obviously, that stuff is important, but what I've learned and learned the hard way, so that means I've learned it well, is that you build a business to suit your life with your core values at the heart of it and reverse engineer from there. That's worth a rewind. So I'm going to say it again. You build a business to suit your life with your core values at the heart of it and reverse engineer from there. And the first step of doing this is that you get really, really quiet. And this cornerstone of your life, the time and respect it very much deserves. Business planning is life planning. We spend more of our waking hours at work or thinking about work or traveling to work than we do anything else. So it's a huge part of our lives. Why the lack of dedication to planning and focus to ensure that work is deeply working for us? Incidentally, at the time of writing and recording this podcast, the planet is still deep in pandemic. Our collective nervous systems have endured a level of punishment and turbulence never before witnessed, and our resilience buckets are beyond depleted, our souls frayed and battle weary. Ourselves and everyone around us, including our family and those we work with, have been changed forever. So, as we begin our exit into this new world, we have to appreciate that how we return to work needs to allow space for healing our wounds, rebuilding our resilience, and working as if we've actually learned something from the tragedy that we've just experienced. So let's move on to the workshop part of this episode. There's a PDF download worksheet for this task on my website in the blog section. But if you don't have it, all you really need is a pen and paper and some quiet space. If you need to grab a pen and paper, just press pause and then we'll get started when you return. Are you ready? First, we're going to go through a short grounding exercise, and I'm going to show you literally the first step for doing anything and everything in your life if we want to do it well. And this is going inside and sensing your body. So, right where you are, whether you're standing, sitting, or lying down, I'd invite you to simply just stop. If you're standing or sitting and you want to go and lie down, please do. But just stop. And now pay attention to your breath. So we're not trying to breathe in any particular way. Just notice how the breath is entering your body and exiting your body. Feel the rise and fall of your tummy, of your chest. And now turn your attention to the places on your body in contact with the chair or whatever you're lying down on. So for most of you, it's the backs of your thighs, your glutes, maybe your upper back. Just notice how your body feels in contact with the other surface. Okay. And now let's journey a little further in. I invite you to pay attention, to notice any sensations in your abdomen, in your tummy. Notice the effect of your breath on your tummy. And now let's move on to a place that most people don't consider. Let's invite you to notice your face. Notice any tension around your eyes. You find tension or a sense of restriction, just say to yourself gently, soften. Allow that tension around the eyes to dissipate. Now I invite you to notice any tension around the jaws and your cheeks and your mouth. And again, gently soften. And again, now return to noticing the breath entering and leaving your body. Does that breathing feel calmer, deeper, slower when we began? And how about now one lovely, big, deep breath to start coming out of this meditation. If you have your eyes closed, slowly open your eyes. All right. So for many women, when we begin our work together, in all honesty, their biggest remark when we go through just that simple grounding is that they can't remember the last time that they literally went inside purposefully and just listened to the wisdom of their body and connected to their self. And this process, as I've said before, is a pot of gold, is our infinite pot of gold, because it's from here that literally all wisdom springs. No wisdom is available to us when we are running around like headless chickens, never taking a moment to pause, to breathe, to listen, to tap in to that infinite wisdom of our bodies. All right, so let's move on. How do we start this process of understanding who we are and what we really want? We start with, and have you got your pen and paper ready? So, what are your core values? Again, in the show notes, there's a link to a wonderful, beautiful list created by Brené Brown. And core values are like honesty, for me, efficiency. I love a bit of efficiency because I don't want to waste time. Don't want to waste time. Transparency, authenticity, autonomy, freedom is one of my biggest core values. Ease is a core value of mine that I prize dearly. Joy, nature. And if you need to press pause to get those out of your head, please do. And then we move on to what's really important to you. Once I'd done this, once I'd worked out actually what was important to me, what was really, really important to me, literally every single decision I had to make for my life, my family, my work became so easy to make. I whittled it down to 7 things. 7 things. My inner work, my son and my relationship with my son, and growing a boy who is able to turn up in the world full of love and joy and actually be his authentic self. Another thing that really matters to me is beauty, beauty in nature. And I am deeply into interiors, deeply and unapologetically. I am one of those women who love household stuff, love designing a room, love remodeling a room. But beauty, I love order. I'm a tidy house person, and I love efficiency because I don't want to waste time. I have to have some form of creativity and learning in my day. Also, one key thing that really matters to me is my husband, my marriage, and our relationship, and keeping that vital. And then the other thing that really matters to me is the place that work has in my life. I don't mind the hard work, but I don't want to do it all the time. So I've got work hard, hardly work, work smart. And kind of those are my 7 things that really matter to me. Can you distill down what really matters to you to 7 to 10 things? Because I promise you, when you do, and you view the world through the lens of those things that deeply matter to you, every single decision that you make becomes so easy to make. Another key question: when do you feel in love with life? When do you come alive? When are you most grounded? When are you most your authentic self? Moving on to number 2, What is your audacious vision for your future, for your life? When I ask clients this, it's like, oh my gosh, they retract. You can see people's shoulders hunch and they get all screw their eyes up because it's almost as if they're afraid to dream. Unhunch your shoulders, stand up tall, open your face, open your heart, and dream with all your might. Another question: how do you want your life to feel? Ease is a key word for me. Ease. I'm going to go with ease. I'm 51. I've done a whole load of grafting and hustle. Now is the time to recognize and work with ease. What am I good at? I'll go there. I'll do more of that. What am I not so good at? I think I'll either delegate that or find somebody who is good at that to partner with. What about that for a thought? Then this one. It's an old one, but it's a goodie. What's currently on your plate? This is a really simple task for anyone listening to do. Find a sheet of A4, draw a circle the size of a dinner plate. Okay, and then throughout one whole week, write everything, every task that you do, both for yourself, at home, in your work, outside of the home, on that plate, in that circle. After 1 week, come and have a look at what's on your plate. And that leads me to the next point. What's currently on your plate that needs removing or delegating? Because I am pretty sure, and I've never found a woman who is definitely doing more than her share. And it's time to give it up. Because when we don't give it up, we don't have time to dream and plan for this audacious future and actually action everything that needs actioning or paying attention to create this audacious future. Then we eventually start to distill it down to what does your dream day and week look like? Where are your cup filling moments? Because again, and especially now in the pandemic, many women are running on vapors. Okay, this is a time to be rebuilding. Now that we have the vaccine, now that we have this light in the distance, this is a time to be rebuilding our resilience. So those cup-filling moments, we have to list them, the things that make us tick, that fill us back up, and then we have to action them and get them into our days, weeks, and months. All right, so now you might think that getting the answers to those 7 points out of yourself is a big enough job, but actually you've just answered the above questions, and now this is when the real work starts, because it's about checking back that the answers to those questions deeply tap into your intrinsic and core values and not those of your family, your partner, or social conditioning, what you think you should be doing. It's about checking that those answers aren't rooted in fear or have been provided by what we now know in the trade as your dumb friend. The dumb friend is actually a good friend, and it's usually the protector of a younger self who grew and developed as a result of a perceived traumatic experience. Now, its job is to alert us to any perceived danger, whether it's real or unreal, and then to trigger a protection mechanism. Now, this dumb friend can still be very much alive in our adult selves and is sometimes relentless in informing us that we're going to get trolled if we shine too brightly on social media, or that our frenemies will think, who does she think she is if we share our truth, our work, and what we're passionate about in the world? Our dumb friend will also sometimes and unhelpfully play a show reel of 100 ways your project could go wrong in our heads at 3 a.m. in the morning. And I think we've all been there. So, tackling the handiwork and the power of the dumb friend who's been resident in your head for 3 decades or more becomes the big job. And for that, I'll unleash a kit bag of strategies that are the perfect fit for you. And together, we'll get you undone. Right, so now Dumb Friend has been powered down, and I've shown you some super quick ways to get out of the fight and flight and regulate your nervous system for yourself. We're ready for the earth movers because now it's time to dig a massive house-shaped hole and start pouring the concrete to make the foundation of your brand new house. The house that will be home to this life, this business of your own design. We all know that houses take months and sometimes years to build. But we all know that the better the plan the architect and the project manager have prepared, the better the results. Midlife transition coaching and therapeutic coaching is all about unearthing your audacious ideas, getting rid of all the crud and dirt that's obscuring the beauty of your dreams, drawing and refining the map of this new terrain that is actually the next half of your time on this planet, and keeping you on track until you simply do what you said you were gonna do. Oh, and sort of about now, then we might just start doing and planning some SMART goals. So, do you get why I'm so passionate about the idea that core values and core beliefs, even if they're way, way more work than SMART goals, will reap deeper rewards way into your future? We break eggs to make an omelette. Say it after me. We break eggs to make an omelette. I hope that was useful to you. And as I said, there's a worksheet if you want to go deeper with the workshop element of this episode on the website in the blog section. And if you feel that midlife transition coaching sounds like a great thing to be doing at this point in your life, please do get in touch. See you next time. Thank you for spending time with me. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for joining me for another episode of the Power Years Project podcast. Don't forget, we've got lots going on the Facebook page, on Instagram, and on YouTube. And I'd love to see you there as well. Okay, take care for now. Bye-bye.